Hey there! As promised, here is the video from a developer's point of view. It describes the activity that the developer must perform before the automation development starts. If you are an automation developer, save this video for your reference. Document creation. If you are developing a new process from the start, then note down all the process steps in depth as a process definition document, also called as PDD. If you are making changes to an existing process, then document the existing process as it is in this document. Create a solution design document, SDD, to capture the process steps from the perspective of implementation. Think of it as if a bot was going to perform all these steps, how would it achieve the task? Think of what technical details will be required. Capture automation design from end to end flow of the processes that you're going to automate. Development planning. Using the solution design document, see if you have any reusable code at your disposal. If so, plan out the reusability of the code for the current scope of the work. If not, start with creating a list of common variables that can be used across the code and a list of decisions like if, else if that you are going to utilize. Divide the process into modules or a group so that coding can be completed module wise or let's say group wise. This will give you a clear picture of the work to be done and time to be invested in each module. Reusability is the key for any code. Take every opportunity to find and combine all similar tasks into a common section and create a code that can be utilized for all those tasks. Test planning. Integration testing and user acceptance testing are common testing phases that are used in a project. In order to ensure that the testing is carried out successfully, pre plan the test case scenarios. For example, there is a process which reads data only from a text input. Plan a test not only to read from an input file but also test that the extension of file is text. If the file type is not as expected, this scenario can be handled. The customer will give you test scenarios which will be process oriented, but as a developer, you also need to add scenarios which are needed from technical side of the bot. For example, the first step of process involves logging into a website. As a developer, you must test to see in how much time is the website loading. Only after it's fully loaded, you would type in the credentials. Exception handling. Exception. What is an exception? While running the code, if there is an error, it is called an exception. Exception are majorly of two types, known exception and unknown exception. For example, while logging into a web portal, if the password is entered incorrectly, then it is a known exception. For logging into a portal, ID and password, both the fields are mandatory. After entering the credentials, if the site is taking longer to respond and thus ending up in a session timeout, this is known as unknown exception, as we don't know why did the site take so long to load. It must be because of the server load or the page got hung, etc. Hence, before the development begins, it is advised to fetch known issues from the customer and consider them while coding. Also, prepare an Excel to capture the errors that occur while developing the code. These can help you handle these exceptions and write real reason for the error, which at the end will help the end user understand why did the bot stop working. Annotations. The most important part of development is code readability. Create a standard naming convention for activity, process, and task to ensure that all the developers are creating a consistent code. Create a format in which the annotation should be written. For example, purpose of the activity or decision or group, guide the team to describe each activity in clear text such that if other developer needs to work on this activity or process, he or she can understand the code by just reading the annotations. Handover. After the development is completed, post-production manual is given to the customer. This manual consists of how to operate the automation and in case of an unplanned event, how to recover the bot to continue with the work. PDD, STD, exception list, environment variables, etc. all will be part of this manual, which will be a complete guide to managing the automation once the deployment is completed. Do not wait to create this manual at the end of the project. Start planning the contents from day one to ensure that even the minute details are captured. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any queries or recommendations, please post them into the comment section.